We've been playing a lot of BattleBits recently and really enjoying it, so we wanted to round up all of the tips, advice, and all that good stuff that we wish we knew sooner so that you guys have an edge in game. If you have any tips that you think would be helpful to people, or you're a veteran and just want to share some things that you've learned along the way, then hook us up in the comments down below so we can all learn together as a community. Large-scale fights on big and destructive maps are exactly what this game delivers well. So we wanted to start it off by letting you guys know that while the game is very visually simple and most things are made out of blocks, it actually plays very well like an old school Battlefield game with giant maps, capture points, massive battles with up to 127 versus 127 players, vehicles and tanks, and a big focus on squad play with squad commands and squad gadgets. So let's start off our first tip by letting you guys know to get ready to squad up and communicate or follow orders in game. Moving as a squad means you can respawn on each other, and this lets you push the enemy front line further towards the enemy points, which means you have more control over the battlefield if your squad is together, pushing and alive. Keep scanning the horizon, the buildings and the windows as you move, as this will help keep your situational awareness higher, as there are a lot of players on both teams. It's always good to know where your team are pushing versus where the enemy team is camping. This awareness on the battlefield is extra important considering that squads can deploy special gadgets and fortifications if you have squad points. You can issue commands on what objectives that your squad should attack, and killing enemies near it, capturing or defending those points, will reward you with squad points. These points can be used to create deployables like resupplying airdrops to refill your ammo, fortifications to take cover, or even a rally point to create a stationary spawn point where your squad can keep respawning on even if everyone in your squad is dead. These rally points can be destroyed by the enemy and will make a constant radio static noise, so they are hard to keep secret. But placing these around or between objectives in buildings or hidden covered areas will mean your squad will have an easy way to attack or defend a point quickly, even if it's being contested, rather than running all the way back from base. So make sure to find routes that flank the enemy team and place rally points there so your squad can keep the pressure on. A quick tip though, for the ammo resupply box is to shoot the parachute when you call this in, so it drops down faster so you can get your ammo quicker. The barrier deployable is also extremely strong as it's an instant wall of cover without having to actually build it. So you can go prone and build this even while an enemy is looking and shooting at you, and it just might save you. You can also rebind the squad leader menu keybind to make it smoother and faster to do this. It's in the keybinds page under user interface, so change this to something that you can quickly and easily access. And talking about settings, let's go over several settings that will just make your life way easier and give you the advantage while you're playing. Tweaking the vault button to a separate button from jump will mean that you won't accidentally vault through windows or over your cover into enemy fire. It's a preference thing, but if you find yourself accidentally jumping and vaulting through windows when you don't want to, you should change this in the settings. You can also change these settings that will mean that you can revive teammates while dragging them to safety at the same time, which saves you time and revives your teammates faster. In the controls page, untick the toggle option for dragging enemy players. This means you will need to hold it down to drag them, but then you go to your keybinds page and then change the secondary keybind for dragging enemies and first aid, which is to revive them, to the same button. This means when you hold down the drag button, you will also revive them as you move them. And another thing you're going to want to know about is in the video settings, there are two things that you want to pay attention to. The field of view is going to let you see more things around you, and that's just generally better. Between 90 and 110 is generally the sweet spot that you want to be in FPS games, but higher will let you see even more enemies if you can handle it on your screen. The higher you go, the more of a fisheye effect you will sort of have, so find what you're comfortable with. But remember, higher is generally better because you can see more if you like the way it looks. A bit lower from the field of view though is the screen shake slider. This is something that you should straight up set to 0. While it is a bit more immersive to have the screen shake, you can aim and see things easier if your screen isn't shaking like crazy all the time, so put this to 0. And next, you need to know that you can customize both your soldier in-game and your gun loadout. When customizing your soldier at the lower left of the screen while in a match, you can actually change their armor, their helmet, and their cosmetic appearance for other things. The type of armor and helmet will impact things like the number of magazines you can hold, your run speed, even your aim down sight speed and your armor. So it's super important to tweak these things to your preference, otherwise you will run out of mags faster or simply die quicker than other players. Both this and the gun loadout can only be done in-game at the moment, but hopefully it will get updated and added to the main menu in the future. Remember, you can also tweak the loadout of your weapon, where you can change its different attachments, scopes, and magazines, and this is very important because it changes the stat of the weapon, it will affect the way it recoils, it will affect how you aim, it will affect how much ammo you have. So as you play and unlock new weapons and then use those weapons to unlock new attachments, make sure to find what works for you. There are also several classes to try in the game that will also affect your loadout, your tools, and even your stats. The Assault class comes with ammo packs, grapple hooks, and C4, but also has buffs to your aim down sight speed, your reload speed, and your weapon sway. So it's very good for those who want to solely focus on gunplay and pushing enemy soldiers in firefights. The Engineer class is your anti-tank class that can repair friendly vehicles or shoot rockets at enemy ones. The Medic comes with a trusty med pack, which is the only way to heal yourself or your allies, as well as extra bandages. Supports will come with LMGs and extra ammo packs for more continuous fire, and recons are great for sniping, so think of long-range engagements with sniper rifles for the recon class. The Squad Leader class is kind of the dud class at the moment. Generally the other ones do better and more, so I wouldn't recommend that one. I would recommend playing as the Medic class because it's the only way that you can play and heal yourself. You can also heal your teammates, which is a great way to get some extra XP and level up faster. It also comes with those additional bandages because healing and bleeding are two different things. When you take enemy fire, sometimes you will start bleeding, and this will slowly drain your health until you die. You must bandage to stop this, and all classes generally come with some bandages, but then you won't be full health after bandaging. This is why the Medic class is so good, because the medkit can then heal you or your friends up to full. We also need to talk about vehicles, because some modes have vehicles, and while it may be tempting to jump into the pilot seat of something like the transport chopper on your first match, maybe don't be that guy that immediately crashes at the beginning of a game because you've never done it before. So instead, if you're not an experienced pilot or tank driver, maybe take some time to practice solo or let someone else take the lead. Also, while talking about vehicles, you should know that when you are shooting rockets at enemy tanks, generally they take more damage from the rear. So if you can flank an enemy vehicle and shoot it in the back, you will destroy it much faster. And now for some general tips. Remember that you can combine magazines together. This is important because your ammo isn't a flat number, it's based on the magazine itself. So reloading halfway through a magazine will leave you with a half full magazine extra. What this means is that you can monitor your magazines until you have several magazines that you can all combine together to make a full one. To do this, press the P button, I believe that's the default, and this will simply combine mags together until you have a full one. Take note of claymores because you will see them all over the place. They have wires coming out of them and they kind of act like tripwire mines. If you cross an enemy claymore's wire, it will explode and probably kill you, so keep an eye out for them. When it comes to RPGs, the heat RPGs are generally more powerful than the frag ones at the moment. The fragmentation ones have bigger AoE but less damage, while the heat ones have a smaller AoE but more damage. As mentioned before, we recommend playing the Medic as a great way to level up early on as a beginner. It's a great way to get used to the game, but by healing yourself and other players throughout the match, you can rack up points quickly and be helpful to your team. Also, smoke grenades are really good. They cover a massive area in smoke, obscuring vision, so if you need to cross a road or large area while enemies are around, throw some smoke grenades to make your life so much easier. You can also do this when reviving teammates, so don't sleep on those smoke grenades. If you have any extra tips, then share them down below and we can all learn together as a community. And the two videos on screen now, we think you'll really enjoy if you did like this one. You don't have to watch them if you don't want to, but if you did like this video, you're probably going to like these ones too. And then tell us what you think after watching in the comments down below.